I think Ruth, that's a good point. I just wanted to say that because like I think it's overlooked how much of the things that we expect on a day-to-day basis are luxuries. And I think I mean, especially because women have so much autonomy today. I think a lot of women are also used to having excess, like being able to drop $500 on some hair, being able to drop $200 on some nails. You know what I mean? And then, like, then when they find a guy, they're like, "Hey, you can't afford to spend $500 on my hair, or $200 on nails." When it's like, well, that's kind of a luxury. Like there are countries where that's not even a expense they would even think about spending. But we have it so good here in this country that we could blow a bag on just purses and extra stuff. And it's like if more women were kind of willing to kind of divorce that materialistic aspect of life and be like, nah, I don't need this many bags. I don't need to go to this restaurant because it's the hottest restaurant. You know, I don't have to have the 42 inches. I could do a little less inches this time. You know what I mean? I feel like it could benefit the community because there are a lot of guys who probably could afford to have a family if the women's appetites weren't so grand. You know, like if their appetite was just dialed back a little bit, it's like, okay, well, maybe his one income could get an apartment for you and y'all can have a car and take care of a kid and y'all can have a happy, decent lifestyle if y'all work together, like what Ruth was talking about. But I'm landing there.
Then go back to work and go back to making your money.
Mhm.
One more rebuttal and then I'm done because I know Lapeef doesn't want to see going back and forth on this. That made sense back in the day, right? We talk about now, where rent is no longer $600 at the cheapest for a 2 bedroom. I live in Chicago. You're gonna pay 13 or more. You're not including your light and gas in that. That's going to be even more. If both of you already had a car before you had a baby, don't let it be luxury cars. You're paying $600-700 a month plus car insurance plus groceries. Groceries by itself. I went and just got a few things today, and that was $100. If your man isn't bringing in, and I'm not saying you're talking down on him because he's not bringing it in. This is your man. You love him. It's okay that he doesn't make as much, but you make substantially more. You are the breadwinner of the family. I'm just saying, yes, you can try to prepare yourself. You can save up. You can do all of that. I did that for my daughter. I had to save up. I understand that, but I'm just saying it's harder nowadays for women to relinquish that and say, okay, I'm just going
Mhm.
to quit my job where I almost make, let's say, 6 figures and let this man who I know doesn't make that amount of money take it on all the load for this next 3 years.
But a man can do it. The man can stay home.
Or maybe the man can stay home, but a lot of men not gonna want to relinquish their job. Not, I'm not gonna say a lot of men, but maybe in this specific case, the man doesn't want to relinquish his job because he's trying to work upward and take off of work for 3 years to stay home with the child. So now you have that battle between both. That's all I'm saying. Nowadays, it's just not that simple.
So
It
Lapeef,
can
what?
be in the right situation, but I know people personally where it's a constant battle on how they're going to do this, how they're going to swing it, how they're going to pay bills if the woman lets go of her job or the breadwinner in any situation lets go of their job to stay at home.
Jr. Can I ask a question to you? So isn't it? Would it be not? I don't want to say selfish, but wouldn't it make sense for the man? I know nobody want to stay home and be treated, like, oh, I don't feel like a man. But wouldn't it make sense if your wife is making 6 figures for you to take 3 years to stay with the child, right? And then y'all budget and do whatever y'all got to do. Wouldn't that make more sense for men to start thinking that way? It's just a temporary thing that you do so y'all can make it in this economy.
Um, if it's a plan put in place for a short term, I can see it working, but long term, I can't see it working. I think it plays into the psyche of how certain women may view that man and how that man may view himself. I still think a man should stay active and still try to reach more goals and sky's the limit type of mindset. But I just can't really see a man just constantly doing that and it's just working out. If they got a plan to say, hey, for the next 6 months, I just got a promotion in my job. I'm bringing enough money. Childcare costs this. Let's go ahead and just do this for this temporary time. Once you get the kids in school, then you go back out and do you. That's a little bit more reasonable, but long term, I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, because women have been asked to do this. We've been doing this for a while. You know what I mean? Sacrificing our whole career.
Yeah, I
I
think
was
they wanted to get in there. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, just by the way the question is posed to the men, what do you think exactly that you're sacrificing, like, as being a provider? What do you think is the unintentional or the intentional weaponizing of your role? I'm just curious.
I
Anybody?
don't yeah, go ahead. I don't. The question is hard to process for me. So can you
You
ask
you
it again?
saying I'm just making sure you saying that.
So basically, I'm asking. So it says the question is, in what ways can a woman unintentionally or intentionally weaponize a man's role as a provider? So I'm asking to the men in the panel, what are some examples of ways that you feel women
Oh,
weaponize your role as a provider?
by trying to tell the provider how and what he should provide. Like if he's the provider and that's his role, then it's not your role to tell him how to do it. But I think a lot of women say that they want a provider, but then they also want to direct and instruct the provider on how to provide. And I personally find that to be oxymoronic. In order for you to be provided for, submission requires you to allow him to do his job. You know what I mean? And if you're going to micromanage or try to tell him how to do the job, and if he actually listens to you, then essentially you're the boss. You're the manager, or you're the guy. You know what I mean? And you're the provider. You're giving him the instructions on how to get on your program. And to me, that's unacceptable. I definitely think that a guy should take control of that area of the relationship.
Is it
Okay, so
possible
if
that they
she
can agree?
questions, so I just want to clarify. So are you saying if she
Mhm.
questions what you're doing as far as with the money, or how you're dispensing the money, or where you're placing it, that's an issue?
No, it's tough because questions is a very vague way to say it, because to question it is obviously not a problem. Like there's nothing wrong with no, let me rephrase. Discussing it is never a problem. You always want to discuss your decisions with your team if you're a leader. However, I think a lot of women feel comfortable with questioning, and questioning and discussing are not the same thing. Like you don't question your boss. You might discuss the decision, you might voice your concerns, but it's not your place to question. You know what I mean? Like if my vision is this is where our family's going, and this is and I lay it out for you, the only question should be on how to help me make it happen. There shouldn't be questions to the regard of like, well, why are you doing that? Well, why is it like that? Because the thing is, you might want those answers, but you're not the provider, so that's not really your place to know. You get what I'm saying? Like it's the same with like a CEO. If someone's a CEO of a company, like the CFO doesn't need to know everything that the CEO does, because the CEO has their role and the CFO has their role. So if the CEO is instructing the CFO, hey, we need to reach this amount of with the finances XY, this is the plan in place. You don't question why that's the plan. Okay, I understand what my directive is, and I have to now follow through with the plan, which is I have to get the quarterly earnings to whatever amount, or I have to cut X amount of jobs, or whatever my directive is. And I think a lot of the time we try to make um these decisions democratic. Like there's a lot of groupthink and like committee, and certain women want it to be a committee, and it's like it can't be. In order for things to be decisive, there usually needs to be a leader. Like there needs to be a clear, concise vision. And a lot of times when you're questioning someone's vision, it makes them feel insulted a little bit. It's like, well, if you trust me and you feel confident in my ability to do my job, and if you chose me to be the provider for you, then why are you questioning my decisions? Because there's other people go through other decisions in life and they don't question. It's like if you hop on a plane, that's a complete stranger, but you don't ask the pilot, hey, why did you press that button there? Hey, why are we taking off at this time instead of this time? Wait, well, why are you bringing out the snacks only one time instead of bringing that? No, you don't ask none of those questions. You sit down on the plane, you kick your feet up, you put your headphones in, and you relax and enjoy the ride. So I think a lot of women have to learn how to better do that. Just be like, okay, I've accepted that your role is provider. Cool. I'm gonna sit back and allow you to provide, and I'll worry about what happened. Let's see the results before I put my input in. A lot of times the input comes in during the building process, and it's like I don't need that right now. Right now, I need you to do this, this, and that, and you'll see it when it's done. And you see the work that we've accomplished. You're gonna look back and be like, damn, this nigga knew what he was doing. And I'm gonna leave it at that.